I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowlers, and my Bibliomancers. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support for my passion and hobby. Hi everyone, Petrik here. So today's video will be the penultimate monthly book haul video of the year. We are very nearing the end of the year now. And well, today I'll be talking about all the books that I acquired in the month of November. And this month, I think I got about 17 or 18 physical books. And yeah, I think this is fewer compared to my previous months, but that is okay. I'm really happy with all the books that I got this month. But I will not make any promises that my Christmas book haul will be small. Yeah, my Christmas book haul will be huge. But for now, let's start as always from the book that I bought first. And well, for this month, I only have one book that I bought that arrived, and it is a copy of Berserk. This is the deluxe edition, the final deluxe edition with Kentaro Miura's work in it. And yeah, this is the thinnest one of all the 14 volumes, and it feels bittersweet to finally have a copy of the deluxe edition of the 14th volume of Berserk, because this means that this is the end. This is really the end of Berserk by Kentaro Miura, and if, let's say, we have a copy of volume 15 someday, which will be a long time from today, because usually this kind of volume compiled about 3 volumes from the manga into one hardcover edition. Assuming that we get a 15 volume someday, it will still be a while. So for now, this is really the final deluxe edition of Berserk. And yeah, I did a pre-order for this one from my local bookstore, and it has arrived, and yeah, it is gorgeous. I am already looking forward to doing another reread of Berserk by Kentaro Miura, this time using the deluxe hardcover edition. And for the next one, this is not a book that I bought, but this is gifted to me. And after facing a lot of mishaps, The Books That Wouldn't Ship by Mark Lawrence has finally turned into the real title, The Book That Wouldn't Burn. Yes, this one is gifted to me by one of my patrons as a surprise, which I totally did not expect. And I have to say thank you so much to Barbara for sending me a copy of The Book That Wouldn't Burn. Finally, I have a copy of this beautiful book, and the cover art is done by Tom Roberts. I am so looking forward to reading this for the first time, hopefully within next year. So that's it for the book that I bought. Moving on to the next section, it is time to talk about the self-published fantasy books that were sent to me. I think this month I have about 5 books. Let's start with this absolutely beautiful one first. This is Bolt Ascension by Von Roycroft. This is the sequel to The Severing Sun, and the cover art is once again done by John Anthony Di Giovanni, and I think it looks even more beautiful compared to The Severing Sun. I have actually read the first book, The Severing Sun, and I think it was a great book, even though it has a bit of a rough start for me, but the second half definitely won me over, and the first book actually worked really well as a standalone novel. I think it has enough basis for the second book, Bolt Ascension, and then the third book in the trilogy to work even better. I look forward to reading this one. And yeah, this is, again, such a beautiful book. Thank you so much to Von Roycroft for sending me a signed edition of Bolt Ascension. And Bolt Ascension is not the only beautiful self-published fantasy book that I got. This is another chunky one. Yeah, this is a thick one. I think this is about 800 or 900 pages long. And this is We Break Immortals by Thomas Howard Riley. This is the first book in the Advent Lumina cycle, and I heard a lot of great things about this big epic fantasy. As far as I know, this is an underrated and under-the-radar epic fantasy novel, a grimdark fantasy novel. I look forward to reading this one too someday, but you might have noticed that this cover art is actually illustrated by someone, if you have watched a lot of my SFF Spotlight videos, well, someone familiar. Not Felix Ortiz, but the cover artist for this one is Omer Burak Onab. This was back then, before he has reached a new level of popularity because of Kickstarter campaigns. But yeah, I think this is actually one of his best works. I really love the cover art of this one, and coincidentally, I have actually seen the cover art of the second book as well, and it looks even better than We Break Immortals. And I want to say thank you so much to Thomas Riley for sending me a review copy of We Break Immortals. And here is another self-published fantasy book that I look forward to reading, hopefully within next year, and this is The Sun Prince by L.R. Schultz, or Luke Schultz. This is the sequel to A King's Radiance, and well, this is the second book in the Bonds of Kin. I think this is a trilogy. But yeah, I have always wanted to read A King's Radiance and also the sequel ever since I first stumbled upon it. And well, as always, I still haven't read this series, but I heard a lot of great things about this character-driven epic fantasy series. I believe the first book actually focused on 3 main characters, and the author has actually mentioned to me that Well, some part of the first book, A King's Radiance, is inspired by One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, and that's always a plus for me. Do not quote me though, because I haven't read A King's Radiance yet, and I look forward to confirming whether it is actually One Piece inspired or not, whether it is a big part or just a small part. But at the end of the day, I hope the Bonds of Kin series will be a great character-driven epic fantasy suitable for me. And this book, and also the first book, actually has a lot of beautiful chapter icons inside the book. Like for example, this one, I'm going to show one of them here. This is the one in the prologue, see? And I believe as you progress through the books, I think this chapter icon will start changing depending on the storyline. And yeah, I think that's a really nice touch to add to the book. And for the next sub-published book that I got, this is a sci-fi. And this is from Wick Welker, and the title is Saint Elspeth. I have actually read a book by Wick Welker, and the title is Dark Theory. That one is definitely a science fantasy novel, and I really enjoyed that one. And because of that, I look forward to reading this. I think this one is about a first contact with aliens. The cover of this one actually reminded me of the movie Arrival, and at the back of the book it is written, "Why did they come?" Considering that I really enjoyed reading the Dark Theory, I hope that this one will be something great for me as well. And the last self-published fantasy book I got, honestly I don't know too much about this one, but Library of a Viking, Johan, my friend, really enjoyed this one. This is A Sealed Empire by Norbert Civic. I heard this one is very engaging, hard to put down, and that's really all I know about Sealed Empire. I believe this one was originally published in Hungary, yeah, but it has been officially translated by Thomas Peters, the translator for Game of Thrones. So yeah, I think that is a plus. Hopefully the translation will be great as well for the Sealed Empire. So that's it for the self-published fantasy section. And before we move on to talk about some traditionally published books that I got this month, let's talk about some special edition that I acquired this month first. And the first one is for House of Poison, illustrated by Gal Orr and also written by Michael Bartel. I have actually read this one. This is a narrative art book. It's about 160 pages long. It is not a long book at all, but although I think the writing is alright and the story is also quite good, but what made this book better is all the interior illustrations done by Gal Orr. I think they are absolutely stunning. They are beautiful, and they complement, and they really complement the story really well. I'm going to show you the prologue page now. This is the prologue, and yeah, every page pretty much look like this. Here, hold on, this is really heavy. And yeah, this one, I think I could be wrong, but I think the Kickstarter campaign for this one is still going on right now. So you might want to check it out if you love a Roman historical fiction novel. And I want to say thank you so much to Michael Bartel and also Mythify, the company behind this production, for sending me a copy to read and review. And for the next two special editions that I got, these are Broken Binding Edition. And the first one is the second book in the War Art Saga by Wesley Chu. Ta-da! This is The Art of Destiny, with the cover art done by Tran Nguyen, and take a look at this foiling. I think it is such a nice touch, and also I really love the cover art by Tran Nguyen. I have mentioned it in my priority series video that War Art Saga is one of my priority series to start and hopefully finish within 2024. There is still no confirmation regarding when the third book will be released, which I believe will be titled The Art of War. I don't know whether that will come true or not, but the title of the series is the War Art Saga. But yeah, this is beautiful. Take a look at this map, this fully colored map in the end paper, and also the naked hardcover. Ta-da! It's pretty, and there is a quote on the spine here. And yeah, really love this one. Hopefully the books will be, well, hopefully the content of the books will be as good as the cover art done by Tran Nguyen. And for the next The Broken Binding book that I got, of course, this is The Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan. This is for their subs for the month of October. Yeah, but it just arrived a few days ago. Yeah, there was a bit of a delay in the delivery of The Promise of Blood, and hopefully the Crimson Campaign, the second book, will arrive sooner than The Promise of Blood. But yeah, I have actually read this entire trilogy and also the sequel trilogy, the Powder Mage trilogy. It is a very engaging and action-packed trilogy. And well, The Promise of Blood is truly an upgrade for their subs, because this is the first time Renee Eichner actually is featured as, well, as the illustrator for this one. I mean, take a look at this. This is the naked cover art, and it is a wraparound cover art by Renee Eichner. And yeah, and of course there is this beautiful front end paper, and back and paper. Ta-da! It is so beautiful, and I cannot wait to see how this will align with the Crimson Campaign and also the Autumn Republic. As I always say in my SFF Spotlight video, the Broken Binding keeps on getting better and better with each production, and I cannot wait to see what they will produce in 2024. But first, before that, well, I look forward to receiving a copy of the Crimson Campaign and also an Autumn Republic. And now we move on to the final section of today's book haul video. Time to talk about some traditionally published fantasy books that I got. Well, let's start from historical fantasy first. And this is For the Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shona Lolos. This is the paperback edition. And yeah, this is not a match with my copy of Words of Kings and Prophets, because my copy of Words of Kings and Prophets is actually in hardcover format. But you know what? I got this one as a review copy for free. I will not complain about it. But most importantly, I hope the content inside The Children of Gods and Fighting Men will be great, because I heard a lot of great things about this trilogy. The title is The Gael Song. Yeah, I heard a lot of amazing things. I heard this is a very incredible character-driven historical fantasy, Irish historical fantasy series. I look forward to reading the entire trilogy within next year. Hopefully this will be as good as I expected it to be. This is actually quite a beautiful cover art and design. It is done by Michaela Alcaino. Some of you might know Michaela Alcaino from her artwork on Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty. And yeah, this is, I think, will be a fitting cover art and design to the story inside this one. I know that this has actually got my attention. And here is another historical fantasy novel that I got. I think this is an unsolicited copy, but this is book 1 of The Nightingale and the Falcon. The title is The Judas Blossom by Stephen Aryan. I have no idea what this book is about, but from the back of the book, it seems like the story will take place in Persia during the year 1260s, and also it will revolve around Hulagu Khan, his determination to fulfill the dream of his grandfather Genghis Khan and create an empire that covers the world. Family and war collide in this thrilling and bloody reimagining of the Mongol Empire's invasion of Persia. So that's what this book is about. That's the premise of this book. And yeah, it seems like the story will revolve around 4 main characters: Hulagu Khan, Temujin, not Genghis Khan, by the way. The Temujin refers in this book is the youngest son of Hulagu Khan, and also Kokochin, and finally Kaivon. And yeah, I have no idea when I'll be reading this one, but I think recently I've heard a lot of praises for Stephen Aryan's books. I haven't read anything by this author yet, but Conqueror by Con Eagledon is one of my favorite series of all time, and hopefully I will end up loving this one as well. And moving on to the next one, this one is sent to me by Tor UK, and this is something that I have read and really enjoyed. This is Bookshops and Bundas by Travis Baldry. This is the prequel novel to Legends and Lattes, and I love Legends and Lattes more than Bookshops and Bundas. But I think this one definitely still belongs in the cozy fantasy novel. It's not as cozy as Legends and Lattes, because Bookshops and Bundas actually features a lot more battle sequence compared to Legends and Lattes, and in my opinion that ended up being the minus factor of Bookshops and Bundas. I actually enjoyed reading Viv spending her time so much more in the bookshop rather than seeing her fighting, but it fits the story wise, because this is a prequel novel to Legends and Lattes, and also this is pretty much about finding someone you love at the wrong timing. But yeah, I enjoyed this one, and thank you so much to Tor UK for sending me a copy of Bookshops and Bundas. I really love the matching design by Leo Nichols that is being given to this book, and it matched the UK edition of Legends and Lattes. Cozy fantasy, romantasy, and also dragon rider fantasy. These 3 are pretty much the trifecta of popular fantasy in the market right now. And the next one that I got is a dragon rider fantasy, and this is The Dragons of Deepwood Fen by Bradley Beaulieu. Yeah, this is the newest book by Bradley Beaulieu, and this one takes place in a completely different world and different series compared to the Songs of the Shattered Sand. The title of the series is the Book of the Hold, Part 1. This is Part 1. The cover art is done by Kekai Kotaki. I have actually read the first book in the Song of the Shattered Sand, 12 Kings in Sharakai. And 12 Kings in Sharakai, despite having a great world building, but I think as far as characterization goes, it was a bit lacking for me, and because of that, I had very mixed reading experience in reading 12 Kings in Sharakai. I hope that the Dragons of Deepwood fan will be a superior reading experience, and I usually have a soft spot for reading Dragon Rider epic fantasy anyway. So yeah, thank you so much to Door Books for sending me a copy of this one. I actually did not expect I would get a copy of the Dragons of Deepwood fan, and I have to thank Door Books for sending me a copy of this one. As for the remaining 3 books that I got, all of them were sent to me by Orbit Books, and they all have beautiful cover art as always and as expected from Orbit Books. And the first one is Warrior of the Wind by Suyi Davis Okungboa. This one is the second book in the Nameless Republic trilogy. The title of the first book is Son of the Storm. I still haven't read that as well, but the cover art for this trilogy so far, they are magnificent. Dando Santos is one of my favorite artists. I think he's excellent in illustrating characters, and it is proven from this one, Son of the Storm, and as some of you might know, the illustrated edition of The Name of the Wind. But the Nameless Republic series, as far as I know, is, well, it is written at the back of the book. It is a sweeping epic fantasy inspired by the pre-colonial empires of West Africa. I look forward to finding out the content behind this gorgeous cover art. Hopefully the book will be, as always, as good as the cover art. And the next one that I got, this is for The Darkness Before Them by Matthew Ward. I have read only the first book in the Legacy trilogy, The Legacy of Ash. I heard that trilogy keeps on getting better with each book, but still I haven't read the second and the third book in the Legacy trilogy yet. But this one, The Darkness Before Them, is a completely new book in a completely new series, unrelated to the Legacy trilogy. Well, as far as I know anyway. But the premise of this one is eerily similar to Mistborn: The Final Empire. I have no idea whether the content will actually be super similar to Mistborn: The Final Empire or not, but the premise of the book is incredibly similar. I mean, just hear me out. This is the premise of this book. And if you have read Mistborn, I think you will notice the many similarities. These are dark times for the kingdom of Kalat. As the magical mists of the veil devour the land, the populace struggles beneath the rule of ruthless noble houses and their uncaring immortal king. Kat doesn't care about any of that. A talented thief, she's pursuing one big score that will settle the debt that destroyed her family. No easy feat in a realm where indentured spirits hold vigil over every vault and treasure room. However, Kat has a unique gift. She can speak to those spirits and even command them. She will need every advantage she can get. Kat is not a hero, she just wants to be free, to have her old life back. But as rebellion rekindles and the war for Kalat's future begins, everyone, Kat included, will have to pick a side. In a world where mist devour the land, ruled by noble houses and immortal king, the Lord Ruler. So yeah, I still look forward to reading this one. If you have read this book and you have also read Mistborn, do let me know whether these two are very similar or not, like the first binding or the Name of the Wind. I still enjoyed the first binding despite its many similarities, so there's always a chance I end up enjoying The Darkness Before Them as well. And finally, the last book that I want to showcase today, this is for Phantom Folk by Eliza Chan. The cover art is done by Kelly Chong, and yeah, this is an absolutely stunning cover art. Take a look at this. Kelly Chong has been doing a lot of absolutely beautiful cover art for Asian-inspired fantasy books, and this is not an exception. It is gorgeous. Welcome to Tian Kawi. Revolution is brewing and tensions are rising like the tides. I heard that this one is suitable to those who love the Drowning Empire trilogy by Andrea Stewart. That trilogy begins with The Bone Shard Daughter, and The Bone Shard Daughter is one of my favorite fantasy debuts. It is hoping that Phantom Folk will be following that notion. And I want to say thank you so much to Nazia from Orbit Books UK for sending me these 3 beautiful books to read and review as soon as I can. So that's it for all the novels that I got this month, but I also got one manhwa, and this is an unsolicited copy. This is Seven Fates Chaco with BTS. Yeah, BTS is a very popular boy band in Korea. I think a lot of you will know who BTS is, but honestly, I have no idea what the story inside this manhwa is. I did not request for this one, and look, this is actually super shiny. And yeah, the illustration inside this is beautiful though, just like many manhwa. They are all fully colored. Because the name BTS is actually written at the front of the book, I'm going to assume that the main characters in this manhwa is actually, well, they are actually inspired by the boy band, like Jungkook, Jin, V, Suga, Rapmon. I surprisingly know a lot of their names. But yeah, Okay, but yeah, that's it. This is the one that I got. This one is sent to me by Easy Press. And because it is a manhwa and this is the first volume, I know that I can get through this one quickly. So maybe I will read this one someday. So that's it. That's about, I think, 17. Yeah, that's the 17 books that I got this month. And do let me know what you think about the book that I got this month. And of course, do tell me how many books that you acquired this month. Which one was your favorite book mail? As always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.